Welcome to Carver Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from Night Carver Designs, and this is a Sabertooth podcast, and I couldn't be more excited to be here. Head on over to sabertooth.com and sign up for their mailing list. They send out a coupon once a month for 25% off. You have 24 hours to use it, so you're not going to want to miss out on that chance. You can use our show code to save 10% off. The code is EM2CO. Head on over, sign up for the mailing list, and if you want to buy them now, EM2CO at checkout. Make sure to have that all in caps, and on to the show. All right, today on the show we have Sadie from the Awesome Orange. Sadie is a furniture maker, builder, DIYer, a little bit of everything, and about 3 years ago she got into carving and she got hooked. She is an ambassador for Sabertooth and will be representing them at Makers Camp this year, and I'll be there with her, and we're going to be carving up, doing some demos, and having a great time. So if you want to hang out with us, check out the Makers Camp in the Catskills, New York, and let's check out our conversation. Thank you for joining me. I'm super excited to hang out.
Ew, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I just went down your page and stalked you all the way down to 2015.
Yeah, I just saw that there was a like on my dresser and I was just like, oh, I haven't seen that pop up in a long time.
Really nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's funny because you can see like your style has kind of like changed over the years and progress all kinds of different ways. So it was interesting to kind of like just look down because I've been following you for a long time, but like I don't remember, you know how like there's so many accounts, you can't remember where somebody started. You only kind of remember their last few projects.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's just so it's so insane. And like I saw like when you got into power carving, it was like 2018-ish, I think it was.
It'll be 3 years in October, I think.
Awesome.
Because the bubbly bar cabinet was my very first one.
Your very first one?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it was awesome. I just saw other people, I was making furniture and I'm like, okay, well, how can I take this up a notch?
Yeah.
And I saw other people doing power carving and I'm like, okay, I don't want to like necessarily sculpt things because I still really like the furniture, but let's, like I said, take it up a notch and add some texture to it.
I think it's cool. You don't see a lot of people who build and add texture. Like there's only a few people I can think of that do that.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but texturing is a lot of repetitive motions, but I think in the long run, it's worth it. The couple of pieces that I've made that had full on texture, just like are some of my favorites.
Yeah. You've done some pretty big panels with it.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. The storage bench was like all texture. I just remember people kept asking me, how many hours did you sit here and do this? I'm like, a lot. But we forget about that once it's done and we get to look at the pretty thing. We forget about all the crap that we had to go through.
Yeah, exactly. But plus, like if you have a really good like soundtrack on or a podcast, something to get you through it, that always helps too.
Yeah, I like to zone out and just kind of like get lost in your thoughts and just kind of watch the pattern appear, and it just kind of is like, okay, it's kind of calming.
It is. It's instant gratification, which I mean, we all love that.
Yes, for sure.
Right?
Yes.
It is though, because like not a lot of things that you can see that just kind of happen in front of you. Like you do a lot of building, so it's a lot of prep, right? You're cutting down a lot of boards, you're milling, like
everything is so, with like other parts of the building is so precise. It's just kind of freeing to have, movement and kind of just going with it and seeing how things come to be rather than, oh, this joint isn't 100% tight. And this, I need to switch this and do that. So it's definitely different. It's kind of, it's an art form. Yeah.
Do you find that you start to, make builds or decisions that include power carving now into pre-planning of the aspect? Like,
yes, you start looking at things differently because you can build like a cabinet that's like super simple construction and be like, you know what, I know what I can do though to make this awesome. And I'm going to add this texture to it. And, everybody's going to think it's the best, So I have a couple of those planned that I'm like, okay, I can't wait till this project comes up.
That's awesome. So what got you into just woodworking in general?
Oh, I was stuck in a 9 to 5, working like 50, 60 hours a week. And hated it. I was unappreciated, all that kind of stuff. So I just quit. I was
Nice.
luckily in a position where I was able to quit, had some savings. And so I just quit. And every other house that me and my husband had lived in up until that point were like investment properties. So everything, I call it, was vanilla.
Yeah.
Except one wall in my one house I painted orange, and that's like kind of where part of my orange came from. But so it was just, I wanted to nest, and I'm like, okay, I want to make this house my own. I don't care where I'm living, but if I want to paint the wall, I'm going to paint the wall. If I want to
Yeah.
do this, if I want to hang this up, I'm going to hang this up. And if I have to redo it, I have to redo it. So I just started making stuff, little stuff, like refinishing a couple pieces. And then a friend of mine, he worked at a cabinet shop, and he was going to go buy some barn wood to make a dining room table. He told me, hey, come with me. So I went with him, and I bought some barn wood and made my very first dining room table. And so
Awesome though.
yeah. And so it just kind of grew from there. You start sharing it on social media, and people want stuff. And I'm like, okay, I had some marketing and business background, read a book, like 48 days to find the work of your dreams, or I don't know what the title of it was, but it basically told me that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and not work for anybody anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, people are asking me about projects or pieces. Let's see how I can merge these two things together and make a business out of it. So I made a ton of commission projects and did that for several years. Was just pretty much all commissions. I had my Instagram there, but there wasn't really an intent for a blog or YouTube or any of that. And then once you get paid the first time for a post or something, you're like, okay,
That was nice.
yeah. Then you just kind of like, okay, let me see how I can make this all work. And then the blog started, and then the YouTube after that. So I think YouTube's been about 3 years.
Nice.
Or maybe a little bit over, because it was really spotty in the beginning.
Yep.
And the blog's probably I think I got the blog 5 years ago, but it was very spotty in the beginning too. So
I was just peeking at your blog. It's really nice. Like,
thank you.
I often wonder, like, should I blog and stuff like that? Like, I obviously not right now because I'm so freaking busy, but like,
Yeah,
eventually, like, that might be a nice thing, because say Instagram goes away or something. Now you have this beautiful blog on your website that has everything that you've been up to. So it's super smart.
it's something that you own, and
Yeah.
people can always come back and find you there.
Yep.
And my blog's been the best to drive traffic to your YouTube video, or from your YouTube video to your blog, to buy build plans, or houses your affiliate links for products and stuff like that. So it kind of completes the circle of it all.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a definite for me. Like, I have a website. I just need to throw a couple extra pages on it, and
yeah,
give it a little final tweak.
It's a lot of work. Trust me.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
it's constantly tweaking the process between, okay, I have checklists beyond checklists, and it's like, okay, YouTube video, Instagram, blog, all the things. And yeah, it's a lot, but it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you and I talk occasionally, and we're always just so jammed with what we're working on. It's just like all these little wheels going, but it's all so many like exciting things happening. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it does keep you going, because you're like, it's always something new to do. And so it's like, okay, well, you can't really get bored of building this, because once you're done building that, now you got to go over here and do this, edit this. And then it's like, okay, you're just all over the place,
right?
Which sometimes can be a pain, but also it keeps things fresh too.
Yeah. And it mixes it up. Like, like the editing comes at the end after you're exhausted from whatever you did. So it's kind of like a welcome break. Like, I'm just going to sit here and focus on this now. I can imagine, because you were like, that outside deck, man. I'm glad that you did it earlier in the season and not like in the summer, because I can only imagine how hot it was there.
Yeah, it was already getting warm. Some of those winter days, the sun was just shining bright in my pool. The worst part were my eyes, because the sun would reflect off the water. And it was like, okay, I got to work early in the morning, late afternoon, just so there's not like that blaring in my eyeballs.
Yeah, no. I grew up having a pool, and definitely that bright reflection of the water. Absolutely. It came out good though. So
yeah.
how long have you been at that house that you're working on now?
7 years.
7 years?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. 7. Yeah. Oscar's 8. So 7. Yeah. I go off my dog's birthday.
There's got to be some kind of landmark to tell time, honestly.
Exactly.
I want to know, like, what's your favorite project that you've done on your house so far?
On my house. Ooh. There's been some good ones, and we're not even quite near finishing it. We've just kind of been, because we've done like everything from raising. I think the most dramatic was raising the ceiling. So it's like the least like visually that you can get content out of per se. But where it's an older 1970s home, the ceilings were like at 8. They were lower than 8 feet because of the trunk lines going through the house.
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah. So we took out all the trunk lines, did all the duct work, raised the ceilings, drywall, paint, all that kind of electrical. So moving insulation, all the not fun stuff.
That's a ton of work.
It just makes the house look like a totally different place when you walk into it.
Oh, I bet.
So that was like trying to get all that not fun stuff. I always call those the not fun projects. And I like the more cosmetic, let's make it look pretty projects.
I mean, of course we do. Again, instant gratification and
exactly. Yeah. Go back to that.
It's like, ooh.
Yeah. But now we're at the stage in the house where most of the projects are the pretty projects. So it's gotten a lot more fun to work on them because you get that instant gratification from all of them.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you so you said when you first started posting on Instagram, people just started contacting you and asking if you could do work for them? Is that kind of how you got into selling stuff?
Yep. Just started sharing pictures of it, like, oh, look at this, or I'd sell it or put it on Facebook Marketplace. And like, I repainted this, or I built these frames or whatever it happened to be. People start buying it and can you make this? And I feel like all of my customers or clients have had more confidence in my building than I did. And they help push me a lot of times because they're like, oh, I know you can do it. Oh, I know you can do it. Yeah, you can do this one. Because I'm like, I don't know if I can build drawers yet, or if I know how to install the hardware. They're like, oh, I'm sure you can figure it out. And so they order a commission and I figured it out and just kept going.
That's awesome. Yeah. People do tend to push you. It's kind of nice though.
Yeah, it was nice.
I've definitely gotten pushed.
I probably wouldn't have tried half the stuff, unless somebody's like paying you and like, you're like, okay, I have to get this done now.
I hand router carved a whole family crest before.
Oh, wow.
Super, super detailed one. The guy was just like, yeah, you'll do a good job. And I'm like, okay.
You're like, I will. Okay. I'm glad you're confident.
Man, that was such a hard job.
Yeah. But I bet you it turned out awesome.
It came out really cool, but man.
The stress.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I will do good. I will do good. Because like eventually you have to charge for the work that you're doing. And you got to make sure you're getting paid well. And then that's a hard balance too. How do you balance all of that?
I think I started out with it as being a business, and I have some running, like I was in real estate before and I helped run an air conditioning company after that. Cool. So I've been around, like, you got to charge, what you're worth type of thing. And in the beginning, like working with brands, it was, I wasn't going to just work with any brand or anybody who was just going to give me a tool. I went back to, what do I want my brand to be? Mm-hmm. And so does my brand use this brand of tools or does it use this brand of tools?
Yeah.
And some of that I didn't know when I was starting out because I didn't know what all the tools were.
Plus, like certain ones are more comfortable for you. Like, as a, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, at my range of, like me trying to, when I first started out, trying to talk about routers when I didn't even know how to use a circular saw or, it's just, kind of going at the level I was and keeping it there. And then sometimes maybe again, just like with clients, pushing yourself a little bit when those opportunities do come. But I guess just knowing that you're worth something and ask for it, because half the time with brands, just asking them what their budgets are, because they'll say, well, can you do this? Sure. What's your budget? And then let them answer. You don't have to say, I charge X for this.
Yep. That's a great way to pivot into that conversation. That's super smart.
Yeah. And then it gets them talking, because then you don't undercut yourself. You don't ask for too much, and you find a happy balance.
Yeah. What made you reach out to Sabertooth?
I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think Jody reached out to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
She says she does that sometimes. I talked to her. She said if she finds someone to be interesting and she thinks that they would be a good fit, she will just like cold call them. And I think that's pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure she did, because I don't know if it's because I was talking about power carving like in a story or something like that. And then she reached out and I was like, oh, heck yeah, I want to try this. And, she sent me out some stuff and I tested it. I'm like, yeah, I got this idea for the bubbly bar cabinet. I think bubbles, bubbles was the first carving thing that came to me. And then we just started working, and they've been like, they are my, don't tell anybody else, but they're my favorite people to work with.
Jody's awesome.
She's amazing. And it just the freedom and, the confidence in you to go out and do things and try different stuff is really cool.
They really trust you to represent them. I think it's really cool. They give you the power to do what you want and have fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it helps grow me creatively, and instead of like being put into a box of, oh, you have to do something like this.
Yeah. Yep. That's cool. What's something that you really, really want to carve that you haven't carved? Like maybe you're afraid to tackle it.
Something big, like some sort of like stump type piece, like almost like a bench. But I was thinking like a really modern, like almost like a giant log, but I'm trying to think smaller log. So it's not too much carving, but just like with some different curves as the feet underneath, but like a solid piece, make some sort of arches out of it on the bottom. I'm not quite sure how I would visualize that, but I think that would be cool. And then adding some sort of texture distressing to it.
That would be super fun to do together at Makers Camp. Like,
yes, I thought of that. Yeah.
I'm like, that would be super neat. And then like, you can just like donate to them, because like, what else are we going to do with it?
Right. I'm going to go sit in the park.
Yeah. This could be the chair for here.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was thinking for Makers Camp, we need to make like this big sign that like says Sabertooth, or I make sawdust or something on it, and then have lots of free space around the edge. And everybody that comes through can carve something on it, whether they want to take away material, whether they want a texture, whether they want to do something. I think that'd be so fun to see how it turns out with 100 people carving on it.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, since this is
I'm all over the place.
I always jump into things and thinking like everyone knows exactly what's going on in my life at the moment, but like you and I are going to be carving at Makers Camp in the Catskills, and it's in New York. It's going to be really fun. We're going to be representing Sabertooth in October. It's going to be chilly. Make sure you dress warm.
Yes,
I know it's going to be
a girl.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be like that. There was a lot of people from the West Coast there last year, and everyone was just like, why? I think I gave like Annette from 513 Woodworks, I gave her my gloves because she was shivering.
That's good to know. Gloves.
Yes, bring gloves, pack gloves if you're going to be attending. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think we should carve something cool like that. And I know like the Shaper Origin tool, I think they were there last year. We could always borrow the router and carve Sabertooth out and then texture the whole edge or something. That'd be really cool too.
That would be awesome. We'll figure it out.
I say, cool collab.
We got this.
I can bring my routers too. We can just hand router carve it. That'd be fun too.
We can figure it out. Texture the whole thing in.
Heck yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm psyched that you got into it though.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely it's opened up the art side of woodworking for me instead of the whole precision type stuff. So I like it because that's my brain. I'm usually like, I'm not full on creative, and I'm not whatever the other side is supposed to be.
More like the mathematical.
Side, I'm kind of in the middle. So I'm a Libra. I'm kind of balanced there. So it's nice to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
I'm super techie and super artsy at the same time. Like I've got those two like things, and they work really well for what I make. It's nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. I keep saying I want to carve a gnome soon. I think that would be really fun to do at Makers Camp too.
That would be cool. There's so many things.
Ridiculous things.
Right before. Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah. I don't know. I carved a tiki head once. It was
I
only
saw
like
that.
the two sides, not the full on, but that was pretty cool to try to get the 3Ds, because that's hard. You have to like really sit there and re-visualize it and go over. So people that are doing like the 3D carvings and stuff like that, that's why I went with a tiki head. I'm like, okay, this will get me started. Give
Yeah,
me
exactly.
a taste of this. And I might want to like redo another tiki head at some point, just to kind of practice, and
Yeah.
because it seems less intimidating, because it's almost like a free farm 3D, because it's not like it's an eagle or whatever,
Right.
it's what it is,
I carved I don't know if you've ever heard of The Final Girls. It's a horror movie,
I
but
haven't.
the killer in the movie has a wooden mask. It's like a wooden tiki mask. So I
Yeah.
was like, I have to carve this thing. So
Yeah.
I hand drew it in Procreate, carved it on the
Mhm.
CNC, and then took it out. And then like I took all my Sabertooth burrs and shaped the whole thing and made it really neat. It was like a fun way to incorporate like all different
Wow.
kinds of art. Yeah, it was neat.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
I haven't
it's a
seen
fun
that
little
one. I'll have to
project.
go.
I'll have
Yeah,
to
I'll have to
post
go
about
look it
it
up.
again. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
do
while
Throwback
ago.
Thursday tomorrow.
Right? I have to get organized. Are you organized with how you keep your photos and videos and stuff in your phone, or is it just like a huge log and you just keep scrolling through it?
A little bit of both. I go through
Yeah.
phases where I'm like organized, and then everything goes to shit, and then it's like scrolling depending on the project. And because I try to keep everything organized for like YouTube videos and airdrop them onto my computer. The goal is every day. Usually it happens like once a week.
Just kind of clear it all out.
Yeah, it just makes it, when I do it every day, then it makes it so much easier that when I go to edit the YouTube video, then
Yeah.
I'm not waiting, 30 minutes to do this, 30 minutes to put it over here, moving everything back and forth, and you actually haven't even edited anything yet. So I would say I go through phases
Yeah.
of organization and chaos.
For the podcast, I'm super organized, but then once it comes to like just like everything else, like it's awful. It's like I need to spend that time and like build albums in my phone or something to try to keep that information organized.
I do have a Throwback Thursday folder. So like if I do a project, I'll keep like the two or three shots of that piece or whatever I might want to use as a post. And I put them in my Throwback Thursday folder, so I can go to that one folder.
That's smart. So yeah, it's like, what shall I pick today?
But this phone is newer, so it's only like 6 months old or something like that. So I didn't bring all the other pictures over. I saved them separately. So I don't have a ton on there yet.
You'll get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pictures upon pictures.
How do your plans do? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, like, when you asked me to send you some pictures of me, I'm like, oh, here's 10 of me.
I appreciate that. It's funny is I asked another person, and, I was telling you, like, not everybody's like that. Not everybody is good about getting photos of themselves. They were like, oh no. Okay. And like, it's one of those things that, and then you start getting these random ones and they're like, I should really take more photos of myself. And I'm like, you're a content creator. Yes.
Yeah. I learned that a long time ago, like years ago. It was with Instagram. It was just like, people want to see you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm going to show up as a hot mess or however I look, because this is how I woodwork. This is who I am. It's some days it's glamorous, usually not. Usually it's hot mess express, but it's still fun and you can still make awesome stuff. So I just got over myself and just like, this is me.
I like that about that. You are very free, like, frizzy hair one day. Who cares? Like, this is what happened. This is me. I live in Arizona.
Pigtails today. I'm like, whatever.
When my hair is super long, I love pigtails. So I'm totally with you.
I was like, it's getting hot. And then I was carving. I'm like, my neck kind of hurts. So I was like, I don't want a bun today. What can I do with my hair?
And then like, seriously, the bandana on it, it's perfect. It keeps you like, all right.
Well, I washed my hair. So I was like, I didn't want the sawdust going in my hair when I was carving. So I'm like, okay, save the hair just a little bit.
I just watched your bowl YouTube for the logs that you just got. That was really good.
Thank you.
It was fun watching you experiment with everything.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. It was cool to see that. I went over to my friend Ty's house. He cut them out and it was like, okay, now what the heck am I going to make? And the feet, I totally was like, I'm just going to carve a bowl. but and it was like, and then first time carving feet, and it was just like, it just felt natural. That's kind of like what I like with carving. Sometimes you don't have to have a vision in mind. It's just like, let's go out here and see where it goes.
Yeah, exactly. I saw you just kind of like draw as you went. That was cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
me too. Yeah, I love that wood too. It's Indian rosewood, the
That was
grain on
really
it.
pretty.
Yeah.
It lit up when you put the honey on it. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I need to make something else out of this type of wood. This is my first time using it.
Or were any of those bits something new that you tried with that bowl?
Um,
I've never tried the bull nose. It looks like a lot of fun. I gotta get some of that.
I like the bullnose a lot just because it's longer, so it can
Right, you
reach
can
into
maneuver,
places. Yeah, you can reach into places. I think I've used all the other ones, but I think it was the first time using like the orange, the extra coarse, the coarse. I was horrible at the grit levels, the orange ones. I think it was my first time using that one for a long period of time because I was kind of scared of them. Not scared in the fact that it was just going to take off material too fast for me on previous cars, or that I would chunk it and mess up the whole piece or something like that. But I think now that I've gotten a little bit more experience, it was like, oh, okay, this isn't anything crazy compared to the other ones, but it does make it go faster. So I was like, okay, now that I've got my technique, I felt a lot more comfortable using something that had the higher grit.
Yeah, I usually stick with the green myself. And the reasoning is too, is just because I don't want to take off more than I want to take off. Like these things carve so nice, like you don't need to put a lot of pressure. So it's just like, I'm just gonna just stay here in the middle ground. But I am liking the whispers the more I use them, because they're more aggressive than you would think. Like they do a really good job pulling material.
They do, yeah. And this one with the Indian rosewood was super hard. So that's, I think, why I jumped up to the orange, because I was like, this is going to take me forever to carve with, a yellow or whatever. So I was like, we'll go for the orange and see how it goes.
You tried the purple too. How was that?
I just got them. I actually haven't tried them yet.
You haven't put it on yet? Oh.
Yeah. So I haven't tried it, but I'm super stoked. They're sitting here looking at them.
Was the grit way more severe than the orange that you have already?
Yes, they're pretty cool. I have the blue and the purple, but yeah, they look, I don't know.
Yeah, nice and aggressive.
They're spiky.
Yeah.
They're spiky. They look cool. I'm like, let's go for it. Maybe for that bench or something that I make.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. You're gonna fly to Maker's Camp with this 30-pound thing of
like, ma'am, why do you have spikes?
Yeah. These are weapons. We're gonna have to check those.
Right? Oh, I'll have to think about that.
Shipping is always good.
For sure.
Much safer. I saw you had like a big dust collecting like vent. Is that what you use for power carving?
Yes, the vent thingy up there. It's like a big scoop thing. So I usually just clamp it to my workbench, turn on the dust collector, and hope for the best. It depends on which angle. I'm constantly moving. So sometimes it flies into it, sometimes it flies out of it. So probably need like 2 or 3 or 4.
Seriously, if you could
a
like
box
surround
to carve into.
But then it's like, where do I put my arms at the same time?
Yeah. I usually find it with, right now it's getting to be summertime, so it's going to be too hot to go carve outside. But in the wintertime, I just go outside and let it go back to nature.
Yeah, no, exactly. I always end up carving in my shop, and then I have to do the whole just like spraying the whole thing down because it gets everywhere.
Don't look too down at the ground. It's so dirty and messy in here.
People have asked me like, is it messy? I'm like, yes. It's very messy.
You kind of have to be one of those people that's okay with making a mess to be into carving.
Yeah. You have and wanting to wear that mess.
Yeah. You're like, I'm so proud of myself. Look what I made.
Yes. Do the shirt like pull when you're
everything. You gotta keep a high collar. So it's not everywhere.
Yep. I know. I'm sure we all have our routines.
Blow myself off with the air compressor. It's everywhere. The worst part is when you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of a carve and you're like, Try to walk to the
Yes.
bathroom. And then you have like this trail of sawdust with you.
Yeah, it's awful, but it's also amazing. So
Yes, exactly.
so how do you do with the plans? Do those work well for you selling plans?
Yeah, they work
Yeah.
really well. So yeah. I think they work really well because instead of like, people ask you questions on how to build something and you can send them to your blog and the plans, people just like to print it out. And I think especially new people, they just
It's so
want
easy to follow something. Yes.
something to follow. Tell me how many dimensions, how much wood I need to buy, where to cut it. It takes half the stress of building something if you've never built before
Yeah.
out of it. You know exactly what you're getting into, what the tools you need are. So there's a lot of people that buy them, and I just try to keep making them because then it's like once I make it once, it sits on my website and then they can buy them.
Right. They're never going to get old. They're going to stay.
They're all going to stay there. So that's as far as business wise, I try to create about 10 every year just so I can keep growing my inventory of them. And
do each one have a YouTube video that like goes with it?
They don't from the beginning. So anyone that I do make now does, since I do YouTube now. So yeah, any new plan will have a coordinating YouTube video and a blog and the plan. So perfect. To build something, they can watch me build it. They can read about me building it, and then they can have a diagram of how to build it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know, like when we first got into stuff, like trying to build stuff like Anna White, everybody, you go there and you get a plan. Like,
yeah,
it just makes it accessible. Like, okay, I can do this because somebody's laid everything out for me and told me exactly what to do.
Because we all tend to overthink things. We're always like, oh, I got to figure out how much wood I need. And then you just keep putting it off and pushing it off. Where if you take some of the thought out of it, then it's like, okay, I can do that. And then they catch the itch and then they start making everything.
Yeah.
But my favorite is when people share photos. So that when I get an email or a DM or somebody tags me, like, oh, your plans helped me so much. That's like the greatest thing ever is hearing somebody say that, or even how I used your plans, but I changed this, and this, but these really helped me get started. And I'm like, that's exactly what they're for. You don't have to make a copycat version of what I made. Just make, I just want to get you started.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. What do you use to create them?
I use SketchUp for the modeling, and then I just take the 2D diagram photos from there and then type it up in a Word document. So I'll have like step 1 with the picture, whatever diagram, step 2.
That's cool.
And they usually coordinate or go in the same order as my blog post. So if I'm talking about something that you can't really diagram about, or a piece of hardware that I'm referencing, then it'll be over in the blog post.
That's awesome. You really are very thorough. I like that.
Thanks. I think that's when I first started. I was always like, well, what the heck do they mean a pocket hole into what? Like, where does it go? Like when you first start, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
So it's like trying to figure out that verbiage of how do I take any sort of, I don't know how to do anything, and being able to get somebody there. And so I think that's what I try to do is give them, I want you to get from A to B. I don't want you to be frustrated. I want you to make the piece.
Yeah. I love it. What are your future goals? If you have them. I know it's a big question.
I like that question though. I've been in chaos mode recently, so it's been really hard to think past it, but I think goals for me would be to grow my YouTube so that I can have more of that passive income from views coming in with the more videos on there. And then to create some sort of storefront, like something that I sell. So a widget, whatever kind of thing it is. So that's kind of like why I got the laser. So if I can make custom cutting boards, or because I don't want it to be just necessarily a laser product, but something that I can hand make, but make it extra special.
Yeah, something
with either texture or with a laser with personalization on it, or what. So I'm in the process of brainstorming a lot of that kind of ideas.
Yeah, I know. I haven't even plugged this in yet. I've got a laser as well. It's sitting right there.
Yes, big and awesome looking.
I know, it's fierce. It's like, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, Clarice. like I'm in that transition too, where I know the product I'm going to make, but right now I'm in like the design phase. So I'm like, what size is it going to be? What kind of news? Am I going to use magnets? Am I going to use Velcro? Like I'm in that kind of like trying to figure it all out. But like, I'm also itching to carve, like power carve.
You could struggle. It's like pulling you every which way. Because right now the hard part for me is the design software. So like when I first learned SketchUp, it took me forever to learn it. But then when it clicked. And now I'm like, okay, I can make plans. I can do, not a pro, but I can do all sorts of stuff.
But you learn as you go too, because you always push yourself to learn one more thing while you're there.
But I feel like I'm always a slow starter, like this laser, and everybody's like, well, you need Inkscape. No, you need Illustrator. No, you need this. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. And then you trace this, what's a SVG? And I'm just, my mind gets like, so I'm kind of stuck in that phase with design. Like I have all these ideas, but how do I bring this to life and actually create it is kind of where I'm in that learning curve. I think once I get past that, then it'll be a lot faster.
I should really start making some videos on cause like I haven't done laser work yet, but I have a degree in graphic design and stuff like that. I've been slowly sharing things like for the CNC, how to add an image trace so that you have a cool cutout on your pattern, I've been trying to help people out. So I should do that.
I would watch all of that.
Yeah, it would be helpful. Yeah. I got to start doing that. Cause there's plenty of people who are out there doing videos on how to create something to create it, but they're not making it to be cut out on a laser or to be used on a CNC. They're just making it as an illustration. So that would bridge a gap. All right. I'm on it.
Yes. Come on. I like your flow and your style, so I can listen to you and learn from you really well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I used to be like that shy kid that wouldn't talk to anybody. And now I just interview everyone. It's really funny transition in life.
Yeah. That's actually funny because I'm like an introverted extrovert type person.
Yeah.
So like with the Instagram lives that I've been doing lately, it's always like, I get all nervous, but then I'm like, okay, the first week I'm always nervous because I'm usually talking to people I don't know or have never met before. But then once I get to know them, I'm like, okay, this is cool. These are my friends. Let's chat. But it's always nice to have somebody else there with you and not just me like, oh, I did this today. And you see people scrolling and trying to sound like, you talk about something interesting.
The worst part about going on an Instagram live alone, and if you're not doing something, like if you were building something and talking, you'd be fine, right? Because you're describing what you're doing. But if you're just talking to it loading, it's just so awkward. I'm always just like, okay, no, make sure you're saying something. Don't just sit there and watch it. Cause like
I write out a script. I'm crazy. I'm just like, for all of these ones for the We Make Sawdust challenge that I've been doing. I write out from the howdy. Da, 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 da. I don't necessarily look at it every time.
But you just having the act of writing it, I bet
I'm writing it and I read it like 3 or 4 times before I start. And I'm like, okay, at least I have something in my mind before I get people on there with me.
It's smart. We all do it differently, so if that helps, that's the way to do it.
I just get nervous. Some people are naturals and I'm just like, I need to get over the hump. Just like I need to have the one beer and then I can go talk to everybody or
that one thing to just relax you for a moment.
Right.
I get that. How was doing like Workbench Con? How's that for you?
It's great. I've been to every single one of them and it's a highlight for sure to talk to people that do the same thing or similar things that you do and understand your frustrations or even understand your wins is like, because you can tell your friends at home like, hey, this happened, and they're just like, oh, that's great, but they don't really get it, but you tell somebody else and they're like, oh my gosh,
that's huge, and they can share that joy with you.
So and then just learning, you always pick up tips and tricks and meet new people, and it's just really, it's awesome. It's a good community.
I saw that you're very active in the community. I like that. Like you seem to be a people person, even though you may be an introvert a bit, but
I am. I don't think of myself as very cliquey. I just like to, I like everybody, and it's just so fun to keep up with everybody and, see what everybody's making. I don't know. There's so much coolness out there. I don't want to just be pigeonholed in a little spot. So
that's awesome. That's cool. I was going to ask you what like your dream products would be, but I don't know if you have like an outline. I know you're saying kind of like just incorporating the laser and personalization, but is there something that you really want to make?
I think if I could make something that incorporated other things that I like to do, like I like plants. So if I could maybe some sort of propagation station that's customized, like with my theme and my brand in some way.
That's really big right now. That's really smart too.
Yeah. So with plants or like the sign that I'm making right now has the laser and it's going to have texture, but it's also going to have bright colors. So like when I do, like my house has a lot of neutrals in it, but I do like a lot of bright colors, but I just like little pops of it in my design aesthetic. So like this is going to have a bright pops of orange in it. So I'm thinking of like maybe signs that create that natural element with the bright. So the rustic modern combination to it.
Yeah. Look at you all artsy now. See, Power Carvin's turned you into an artist. I like it.
Picasso. Whatever it is.
Picasso. I like it.
Yeah.
I hate that those sayings get like stuck in your head because you hear them all the time.
All day on Reels, TikTok. It's
yes. Like my poor brain.
And then other people have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. So I can say that joke with you, but nobody else. My husband be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh my God. My husband has no idea what I'm talking about half the time. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Mine's not even on Instagram. So
mine either, really. I made him make an account, but that's as far as he pretty much went.
Yeah. Mine has Facebook, so he'll look on there occasionally. But
yeah. I think it's fun when they're not interested at all because it's just your thing,
Oh yeah.
Like I like that this is my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I do want to make him work the laser because I don't want to be a production worker.
Let me just get it all set up and figured out and then email everything out and ship
that's
it
my
all
plan. That's my plan. Absolutely. I want to be like, I have 2 kids, Sadie. I got a plan here. I have 2 workers right there.
Yep.
As they get older.
Yeah. Come on, package this.
You want that karate black belt class?
Yep. Come on, get to work.
Your $100 a month. You got to earn it.
Mm-hmm. So true.
So funny. So why did you name yourself the Awesome Orange? Like, has orange always just been a huge part of your life?
I had a list. So my planning part of me had like this huge list. And when I first started, I didn't know. So I read that book and I knew I wanted to work for myself. And then I was like, okay, I want to nest and build things, but I didn't know if I was going to be good at building anything. So I didn't want to be like Sadie's woodworking and be like, I hate woodworking in 6 months, Yep. And I didn't even know if I was a woodworker at that point. I was just what I was. So yep. I wanted something that didn't have like a set lane that I had to be in. So that was the first thing. And then it was just like orange. My first big design thing was that orange wall I touched about. It was like this big curved orange wall in one of my houses. And every time anybody came over, they're like, oh my gosh, I love your orange wall. I love your orange wall.
So it kind of just like became a persona eventually.
Yeah. So it was just fun. And it's a bright, fun color. And it just, I don't know. I say awesome a lot. So it was just like, okay, I'm the awesome orange. I probably would name myself something different. Maybe. I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like if I do my laser products and stuff, because my name is Sadie May, M-A-E. So I want to make a brand that's Sadie made with the D in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might do that for if I do make any sort of product line or something like that, that I can have that be its own little persona.
I just made a brand new company name myself that is not a tombstone or a zombie hand because it's so my new product line, it sounds nothing like you would think. It's called Navigating Life Charts. So that's going to be my new product line. Yeah. Nice. It's like complete polar opposite of what I do now. Yeah. A huge pivot, but they're going to be really cool.
Exactly.
I'm going to add skulls and lightning bolts and like, it's going to be fun. It's not going to be like boring, but although the name kind of seems boring.
No, though that's cool because we all have different avenues of things that we like. And it's like because everybody's like, oh, your house must be orange and everything you have must be orange.
You're
And
like,
it's like,
no.
no, just a little bit goes a long way, just the right amount. So we all have different avenues that we
Yeah,
like.
like when you started, because I went all the way down.
Yeah.
The orange sneakers. Like I was like,
yeah,
there she goes. She's building a brand. She came out strong and bold. Here's the name, here's the logo.
Yeah.
Now I'm adding my touches of color that are kind of
I
like
got my orange
pop.
bandanas, when I
Yep.
started. I was like, okay, I'm going to use this. I want all these things to coordinate for sure.
I just realized you and Mark the Builder now. You have that signature orange. You and him.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of people that like orange.
Yeah.
So like Jackman.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's got that
orange
bold
guy. There's a lot of people, but I like it too. So
I think it's so. Yeah, you're right. There is a lot of people who use orange now, like Ginger Woodworks. I'm trying to think of all the. Yeah.
Yep.
The orange is strong.
It is. I guess there's like. I'm like looking at my tools. I got Pony and Rigid and Home Depot and Bora. They're all orange too. So
that's kind of funny because like when you're shopping, you're like, where else can I add a touch? Yeah, like the Bora wood racks in the back. That's just a little touch of orange. Yeah.
My wall control is orange. All the good stuff.
I love wall control.
A girl with a wood shop has to have stuff that matches.
I'm just getting there. It's so funny because when I was buying the laser, I don't usually do red. And I was like, oh, there's some bold red on that. Like, I don't know.
You're like, I can paint that.
Yeah. I was like, do I customize it?
You can see, little skulls or whatever on the front of it.
I could just laser it, right? Why not laser the panel?
Why not?
Add a pattern, right?
Yep.
Is there anything that you want to talk about or promote before we head out?
Yes, the We Make Sawdust challenge that I am doing with Sabertooth. So we are in it. It's basically 4 makers. We give them 3 carving burrs, 2 weeks to build, and 1 challenge. So we pick the participants. We send them out this big old swag box with everything in it. We had a whole bunch of awesome brands.
Yeah, you
donate stuff to be in the boxes. Then we all unbox them live. And once they unbox everything, they've got the 2 weeks to start building. So we're a week and a half in actually. So this coming Monday,
so crazy,
whatever day that is, I don't know if this will be out the 25th.
It's the 25th. Yeah.
We get to reveal everybody's projects and then voting is going to start. And then we'll have a whole week of voting. And then the following Monday, which I think is the 1st or the 2nd.
The 2nd, yeah.
2nd of May, then we get to announce the winner. And they all get prizes.
Perfect. This is going to air on the 29th. So if people are listening now, they'll be able to vote.
Yes, they'll still be able to vote, get your votes in. And because I don't want to have to decide. It was so close. This is our 3rd time doing it. This is round 3. Last time the winners were separated by 7 votes.
Oh, wow. So how did they vote?
I have a link in my bio and it goes to a form where they just pick the winner.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. I was curious how you were calculating all the votes.
Yeah. The very first round, I had them do like Instagram story voting, and that was like chaos trying to keep track of everything. And then last time I created a form on my website, and it's like that goes to an Excel spreadsheet, and I can just sort everything and boom, count it. It's good.
How did you get into making the We Make Sawdust challenge?
Jody actually came to me with the idea, and it had been something that I was thinking about too. Like, I really want to incorporate, I really like community and trying to get people to build, because I feel like for me, it was super empowering going from a job where it was not satisfying or rewarding, and coming into woodworking, it's super rewarding building these things. So I love sharing that back with people. So it's like, I really like this. How do we get other people to do this? How do you present that? And so when she came to me with that, I was like, oh yes. And so then we just like started talking, brainstorming, and then ran with that idea. And it just keeps each round, I think it keeps getting bigger and better. And hopefully we can keep growing and figure out ways to make it even better next time.
That's awesome. I mean, you are already making it better every year. I mean, you're getting more and more sponsors to add to it. That's so cool.
Yeah, I think the most rewarding part is people are like, oh man, I saw so-and-so and I wanted to carve because of her who was in the
Yes.
challenge, or this person was in the challenge and I learned about power carving from them. And so I can just firsthand see that people are trying power carving because of the challenge. And then like even Christopher with Cricket Hat Woodworks, who's in it this time, he's like, this is pushing me to, he's a turner, to add texture to his pieces. And he said that it's just going to level him up on the stuff that he can sell and that he can make. And he would have probably never tried it or pushed himself if he wasn't in it. So I'm like, that's just a win right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw his page, really beautiful things. And I can't even imagine like once he gets that taste for power carving, like where his pieces are going to be. Yeah. I like, Hadil, like that was her first time ever power carving, right? With the contest last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now
it was in October. Yeah.
Yeah. And now she's hooked. Like she's always carving.
And she's got a great following of people who have just been like, oh, I saw from Hadil.
Hadil's killing it.
She's got it. I want to do it too. So it's awesome.
I'm going to be having her on the show. We're going to be doing like a big special group one where we're going to have a bunch of people like just chit chatting and stuff. I thought it would be pretty hilarious to have her on there because not only is she a great power carver, but she's also hilarious.
She's hilarious. That was the first time when I first met her on the first live, she said like a joke, like a dry sense of humor type joke. And I'm so nervous and like, ooh. And I was like 30 seconds later in my brain, like, oh, that was funny, Sadie. I was just like a little slow. But as our challenge went on, I was like, okay, I really like this girl. I understand her sense of humor now. Because I wasn't following her when she joined the
Four Rivers Studio too, we should mention. Yes.
And so, yeah, she's great. I love her stories.
Oh, yes. When she goes on her rants. Oh,
yeah. And I'm like, every time I see Weezer come up when I'm trying to create a reel, I'm like, oh, I should do this and tag a deal.
And that's the best part, like with this carving community that's building now. And like there's already a strong maker community, but I think carvers aren't really in it yet. And they're now getting kind of like pulled into it. And that's like the big reason why I wanted to have this podcast. Cause like, I've spent the last year and a half building up the maker community, having them on Behind the Maker podcast.
Yeah.
And now like with my new show and this show, I get to build up continue building it up with maker conversations, but now with Carver conversations, like bringing everybody in.
Yeah, when I heard you were doing it, I was like, this is awesome. You know, it love learning about different people and their stories, and especially when it relates to you. And and carvers make some awesome stuff.
The chainsaw carvers that we have coming on, and like you said, wood turners, like there's so many different people who use these tools. And it's in so many different ways. Like I have a pumpkin carver and ice carver coming on.
Nice.
Yeah. Like it's like so cool that the people that I'm going to be talking to, I'm super excited. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Like it's super exciting.
I always say the possibilities are endless with carving. So it's so cool.
They're blowing my mind, like going every day through all the posts and trying to pick one person to highlight a day is so challenging because everybody's work is so amazing. Like,
I know, but you've been doing an awesome job on the Instagram. It's been really exciting. And I think it's like just sharing all those people. I found several people to follow just because I was like, oh dude, that's cool. And then you go stalk their page and you're like, okay, I need to be following this person. So
yeah. And now that I'm on that page, like I'm seeing people to follow under Sabertooth's name now that I'm just like, oh, wow. And I'm like, and people are starting to tag more now that there's if you're a carver and you're listening to this, tag Sabertooth. I'm manning the account. Let me see you. Like, don't worry if they're not following you yet. Like I need that exposure because it's so hard to find everybody. So make sure that you're tagging, make sure that you're using the hashtag because they want to highlight you. Like, this is no joke. They really want to build their community. Like you said, Jody reached out to you. Like she's not afraid to just like, go and grab people.
They are super awesome. And we definitely need to grow the carver community. And that's the best way. Just tag. I love resharing other people's stuff too. It's so fun.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This went by fast.
Yeah. I looked at the clock and I'm like, all right, well, we've got 5 minutes. So I was like, We killed it.
Her off. She talks too much.
All right. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Sadie. She is a fantastic person who is super open and honest, which I love. You can find Sadie on Instagram, and from there, check out her link to bring her to the website. She has links to everything that she's doing right now. Check out her plans and whatever you want, and go show your support and check out her new video on YouTube. All right, so it is time to highlight one event for anybody who is in Missouri or wants to head on over there. There is Sawdust Fest. That is going to be at Miller's Rustic Sawmill, and that is on June 18th. If you have any events you want us to highlight, just let us know. You can message us at Sabertooth or hit me up at Carver Designs. Be sure to follow and subscribe to our YouTube page and on your listening app. And if you want more in between these episodes, go check out Maker Conversations and Behind the Maker podcast, two of my past shows that I interviewed about 78 makers over the last 2 years. Have a great day, and we'll see you for our next show, which is going to be a really fun one. We are going to be hanging out with a very talented carver who not only carves just, our normal wood, but he ventures into pumpkins and ice. So it should be a really great time. And before you go, don't forget our show code EM2CO in all caps, and that'll save you 10% at checkout. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter, because once a month you'll get that 25% off coupon, and that coupon can be used on your entire cart, so you're not going to want to miss out. Make sure you sign up for that newsletter and subscribe. All right, well, you have a great day and keep carving.